Alright, we're back.
He is back. Oh, we are back.
Press the wrong button there.
I don't know.
Oh,
What?
okay, we're back.
We're back. I don't know.
Sorry, technical difficulties. Episode 1, like Devin said. Oh, wait, it's definitely not recording. Yep. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
I don't know what in the fuck is going on. It's being a fucking badge.
Fucking what?
It's been a badge. Alright, we're back. Alright, we're back.
Yep,
Bam,
we go.
there we are.
There we go.
There we are. Alright, we are back, people. Okay, episode 1, like Devin said, we're having technical difficulties. Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
It's typical. It's how it goes when you're starting a new podcast.
Technology.
So,
giving us difficulties.
we are going to get into our first political topic of our Purple Oath.
Before we do, why Purple Oath? Our Purple Oath.
So, we named
Because we didn't touch that.
this podcast Our Purple Oath. So, first I'm going to talk about where the Purple Oath part comes from. I heard a guy say that it is our duty to have a bipartisan, or it is our, we have an, let me restart. As civilians, as Americans, we have an oath to be bipartisan. So I thought, man, we talk about politics all the time. That's a title. That's a podcast name, The Purple Oath. So I was thinking, well,
how did you come
the
up?
Purple Oath.
How did you come up with Purple
Or do
Oath?
I want to go like Purple Oath Podcast, or do we want to go Our Purple Oath? And Devin was here sitting with me, and I said Our Purple Oath, and he was like, "That's the one." And so we started thinking, Devin, I'll let you explain this part. Why Our Purple Oath?
Well, so Our Purple Oath. I'm gonna start with simple as color purple, right? Ooh, it did it again.
Aliens are back.
Guys, we have aliens. We had aliens from our last podcast when we recorded.
They're in our headphones. They're
Yes.
stealing our headphone feed.
That was cool. Anyways, yep, they are doing it again. Anyways,
We're still good on the sound.
the color purple, red and blue. You have your Republicans, you have your Democrats, right? Mix them together. What color do you get?
Purple.
Purple.
Yep.
Genius idea. That was the first thing I was like, there you go. The bipartisanship right there.
Yeah,
right?
purple, baby.
Oath. Everyone has an oath, right?
Yeah.
And then as we were trying to go through the our Purple Oath is personal to not only us, but it can be personal to everyone. And that's what we want. We want the unity. We want the unity. We want everyone to come together and have the same perspective and have the same understanding. Hence the our. So Our Purple Oath, everyone under the same understanding of our oath to uphold our allegiance to America.
Yeah.
That our founding fathers wrote in our declaration back in 1776.
Yeah, and I think it's
I don't know why I made that. I decided to go with the accent, but
I think it's our duty and our responsibility to listen to anyone who considers themselves hardcore liberal left, and the same with the hardcore conservative right. I think everyone should get their voice, and it should matter just as much. But I mean,
I will sit down with a Marxist I will sit down with.
I will sit down with a pure socialist.
With a pure communist socialist. I will sit
Communists
down.
are kind of hard to talk to.
I will sit down with a member of the KKK.
Same with the dictator. They're a little hard to talk to. But yeah, this podcast.
I want to sit down.
When this podcast gets to 100 episodes, you never know. We could be talking to people like Pete Buttigieg and Ben Sass and AOC, maybe Bernie Sanders.
See, I'd prefer like Charlie Kirk over AOC.
Oh yeah, Charlie Kirk. Oh yeah, absolutely. We get Charlie Kirk on here.
As much as he's a hardcore Republican, he's still very open-minded.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Dan Crenshaw. Get Dan Crenshaw on there. That'd be pretty cool.
Epic. Yeah. That'd be legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
It would be epic to get some of these people on. We even some hardcore each side like Matt Gaetz and Eric Swalwell. Love to talk to all these people. We'd even like to get our own senators on, like Hickenlooper and our governor. Is he the mayor? No, the governor. What is his name? Polis.
Yeah.
Jared Polis. Yeah. Yeah, get him on. We'd love to have everybody on talking about this.
I forget who's in charge of our state because I don't like them.
So, shall we get into our first topic?
Let's hit it. Let's get saucy.
What do you think about the Texas energy crisis that's going on?
Oh, so they weren't ready. Texas was not ready, right? There is so much energy that is stored within the state from all the wind farms. But if you don't have the proper equipment, shit's gonna break down.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, they weren't ready. Being in Texas, you're constantly sitting in 70, 80, 90, 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
So, when you're constructing these houses, the plumbing, when you're everywhere within the city itself, you're not thinking of, I need to put piping underground that's not gonna crack.
Yeah.
When it that's not gonna crack when it freezes.
Yeah. Yeah, the gas lines and
gas
everything.
Lines, like you're not gonna think about that.
Nope. Well, and see, like the natural gas thing, it's when it gets that cold, it's a pressure thing. And how do you change that? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that natural gas is inefficient, but when you have temperatures like that, kind of is.
So, Texas wasn't ready. The South was not ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely am hoping they get through it because going from the average of an 80-degree day to sub-zero in a week and you're not used to it, that's a shock, my dude.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Especially in an area that doesn't prepare for a winter.
Yeah.
Us in Colorado, we have to prepare for a winter in July.
Yeah. Because
weather could just, right?
Yeah, so Texans that I've talked to say that it's about those kind of storms come around about every 30 years. But scientists and climate scientists are saying that the last one that came through there
was like 10 years ago.
Was about 10 years ago, and it wasn't as bad, but it did reach a part where the lows were about the same.
They just didn't have as much snow.
Yeah, and it didn't last as long. So it leads the question is, can you blame someone for how ill prepared they were, knowing that they've been told for the last at least 10 to 20 years that you should probably winterize your shit.
Even before that, because you have mayors and governors running a state years before that, there's a history. There's a history of these storms rolling through. So,
well, and there was energy companies from other countries and shit that get cold like that, and they're not in a place like Texas, obviously. But comments were pretty spot on. They were like, "Well, our turbines are set up for massive heat. Why wouldn't your turbines be set up for serious cold?" And
because it doesn't cross their mind.
A lot of people think it's a waste of money.
It wasn't crossing their mind. I'm putting quotations around this.
Yeah. Think about.
Because if you already are experiencing the average Canada cold weather, yes, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna prep theirs for heat in case they get those heat waves, so they can sustain that energy coming through.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, you can blame it on senators, governors. You can blame the construction.
I was
going to
say the energy companies are at fault too.
Like everyone is at fault for that.
I think it's
the citizens are at fault for that, for not trying to fight for it, trying to be like,
well, and that's something we don't really know if they were, or if they were even aware of it. Because that's the same thing. It's the mindset, and it's out of sight, out of mind.
We get one every 30 years. I'm not going to need that.
Out of sight, out of mind.
But how many 30-year increments do you live?
3.
At least 3, right?
At least 3. Wouldn't you? You'd hate to rebuild everything 3 times in your life.
Why would you want to rebuild three times?
And climate scientists are promising this is going to start happening more often.
More often, absolutely. Because I have a feeling that there's a shift in polarities right now.
Well, spend a minute explaining that climate change is not debunked because it got cold. Or global warming is not debunked because Texas got cold. Because that is all over the internet right now.
Well,
people saying that, well, it can't. Global warming is obviously a myth because Texas just froze.
I mean, with China polluting the atmosphere as much as it is, all that CO2, with America pushing as much emissions as we do, yeah, global warming is real, but there is also, we also have to put in another aspect of a polarity shift too. If our axis shifts to a certain degree, like thousands of years ago, for example, say Antarctica is where like Mexico is now, right?
Yeah.
But then there is that,
so like a 90-degree shift.
Right. So it wasn't all ice, but once it hits that turning point, sea levels have dropped, and the wind current that in the ocean, everyone knows about the wind current, right?
Yeah.
Once
like the jet stream.
The jet stream. Yeah. Once the sea level hits that jet stream, it creates like an ice age.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, if the axis is tilted and
absolutely,
somewhere on the equator was now chosen to be the North and South Pole,
and it's not an instantaneous change.
Oh no,
it takes thousands of years. So rather than us spending like this, we're spinning like this.
Kind of like an out of control car.
Like, yeah, kinda. But so
like
we're
a NASCAR wreck.
we're still spinning it like on our normal axis, right? But hit
the
that
North and South Pole change.
Yeah, they change, but it's so slow. It just stays in that same motion, and it like so over 500,000 years. Okay, it's still spinning like this in one right, but over the 5,000 years, it's gonna go like this as well.
Well,
but this motion right here is at a much slower pace.
all right. So the part of global warming going around on the internet.
Our listeners have no idea what I was just doing with my hand, so I apologize.
They were like he's saying that the Earth is going to spin different. That's what he's saying. The Earth's going to spin different. So
Earth's constantly spinning in a weird direction.
So, like I was saying about the internet being crazy and how it's flowing about the change in temperature or the Texas freezing proves global warming is a myth. So, if you go to any climate scientist's blog or page or any journalist's recollection or journalist entry on climate change, majority of them are going to tell you that climate scientists say that glaciers are melting at a rapid pace, means ocean temperatures are rising.
Ocean levels, not temperatures.
Both. Ocean temperatures are rising as well.
Well, yeah.
And the jet stream rolling over the ocean and the lack of glaciers has something to do with the temperature globally rising. And scientists have proven that the use and the burning of fossil fuels are 100% correlated to humans, and that it is sending us in a bad direction. And that the parts per million for oxygen in the air is lower than it's ever been.
Using fossil fuels.
And it's because of the burning of fossil fuels and breaking down of ozone layers, and you can get into science later. But
okay, well, that's not the only thing breaking down our ozone layers. All the nuclear tests.
Oh, I know.
Are punching holes in our ozone.
I think nuclear is right along the lines of
all these
fossil fuels that we probably shouldn't use. But I think
no, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying whatever nuclear tests we have sent through the ozone layer and detonated it up there, creating massive pockets. But it's not over our country, so we don't get the direct effect of it.
I was going to say, that's above my knowledge.
It's going to be down in, like,
I don't know
Antarctica,
anything about any of that.
Where there's no one... Why do you think no one is allowed down in Antarctica? Only the government's allowed in Antarctica.
Oh, there's a lot of things going on in Antarctica, and there's multiple countries' governments in Antarctica right now.
Same things happen in the North Pole as well.
Yeah, but as far as like the Texans saying that climate change is a myth, global warming's a myth, don't listen to that. I believe it's our duty to educate our children and the next generation as best we can to best equip themselves for the future as far as fighting climate change and all that. Because, how how bad is it to say that you want to be net zero? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's actually pretty counterproductive to say, well, helping the planet, doing anything to help the planet's just stupid because it's costs more. It's like, well, the more we do research, it might not cost more in the future.
That's the transition that's going to cost most.
And do you think? And this comment floats around politics all the time on the right. That how how do I want to say it? How pretty much how stupid it is to try and force this renewable energy thing on everyone when it's not cost efficient and we don't have all the answers to it yet. So do you think we should just not do it, or just kind of do it, or like... I just don't get the argument. It's like they meaning the right insinuates that we should just not do it at all because we don't know everything about it and it's expensive.
We need a little bit of everything.
Agreed, and that's what I'm saying.
We need a little bit of everything to be self-sufficient. We need a little bit of everything for...
Well, and I think you got to have these things to experiment on them.
You need, right, to experiment. We need these random storms. I wish Colorado would get another storm like we had back in, 2006?
Oh, dude, you remember the blizzard of 03?
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking
of.
Was 03,
man.
Where we had, like,
6 feet of snow. Dude, and it was the whole state.
Why can't we have that again?
Well, and that's another thing.
But we need stuff like that for us to be like, that's what I need for this.
Do you think we could prove that is our vision of the climate is absolutely changing? We're seeing it right in front of our eyes.
Oh, Colorado's a perfect example.
I think so too.
We would easily get 2, 3, 4 feet of snow, still go to school. But once we got that 5th foot, school's closed.
Yeah.
We would go.
Snowplows can't keep up.
3, 4 feet. They were like, "All right, you got a delay."
Yeah, I remember because that 5th when that snowstorm started, we were leaving school and there was already like 2 feet of snow.
Oh yeah, it was epic. It was so cool.
It was epic.
We built little underground tunnels, like
igloos in your front yard.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. It was.
Pile the snow up as high as you can. Jump off the roof.
Jump from shoveling the driveway, dude.
Jump off the roof.
You had like 20-foot mounds of snow in your front yard.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Going up to the roof
and
snowboard off of it.
Almost 20 years later, our worst snowstorm that we've had so far is like 6 inches.
Yeah, literally. I think Colorado is a prime example of this climate crisis.
We used to have winters.
Yes.
Where it would snow once, twice, 3 times a week. Yeah. It would be an inch or two or a few inches, but there was I remember a consistent snowfall. It would snow on Christmas.
Yeah.
Up until I was like 18 when I left
or
the
there
Marine
would at least
Corps.
be snow on the ground.
Or at least snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Up until I was 18 when I left for the Marine Corps. I haven't had... Actually, I take that back. Christmas out in New Hampshire, I had snow on the ground. But that's New England. We don't have that. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Playing soccer in high school, I played a single game through rain, sleet, a little bit of snow, and then just sunshine rest of the game. Just because there was that weird...
4 seasons in one game.
It was insane. It was the weirdest thing. But that's the kind of weather we had. Now that I really think about it, taking us slightly off topic, which is kind of funny. But thinking back to it,
shout out.
Maybe it was just the government experimenting with silver iodine.
Oh my God.
For weather modification.
I don't know about all that. I don't know if they knew about that back then in the 90s.
Oh shit.
In the 90s.
They were playing with
back
weather modification.
90s.
They were playing with
back in the 1900s.
They were doing that in the 60s during Vietnam too. That was 60s. They also were doing it in supposedly during the 40s during World War II.
I don't doubt it.
So apparently weather modification's been around for a while.
Oh yeah, I remember reading articles about World War II that they would come through with that stuff to make it so make it so aircraft.
Maybe this storm that hit the South was to get caught off
to winterize their shit.
No. Like the South being probably the heaviest gun owners. Fucking lock them up. How are you gonna lock up Texas? Put them in their homes during a winter. There's a weird conspiracy for you.
That just started too. Well, I think we're going to go through one more topic and then we're going to shut our first episode down. What are your thoughts on this new bill that's hit Congress about, it's called H.R. 127. It is a bill about gun registration, pretty much. Licensing and registration. It's like a fucking car.
So, all I really have to say is I will be damned if it gets passed.
Yeah, Mullen LeBay, come take it.
I will be damned if that gets passed. Because...
So, pretty much what this bill is, it makes you... Any gun owner has to get a license to own a gun. And you have to pretty much register every gun and get an individual for each individual gun. So you have to have a license for every gun you own. And you have to pay... There's like a tax on your magazines. There's a new tax set for ammo. They're saying you need like hours upon hours of training to get your licenses.
It was like 24 hours, I think.
It's put forth by It's put forth by Sheila Lee Jackson
from Texas.
She is a Democrat from Texas. She is on the House Judiciary Committee. As far as we know, this bill is most likely not going to get very far, but we do know that there's a good chance that this could be a base and for their gun control. Their meaning the left.
This bill, if this bill gets passed,
there's already Democratic senators and House reps that have already said they won't sign this.
There's going to be mass anarchy.
Well, all the Republicans are going to say no, and there's even going to be Democrats that say no, this is going too far.
So, H.R. 127 would ban common types of ammunition, including every shotgun shell larger than a .410.
Oh, we don't need to go through the whole thing.
I'm not.
Let them go look at this.
Violations of the ban would result in the imposition of a fine of at least $50,000 and imprisonment of at least 10 years. Mandatory penalties not seen in many violent or infamous federal crimes, including torturing someone to death outside the U.S. or committing treason during wartime.
So, Dev, I think we can make assumptions right now as to what this gun control coming forward is going to have in it. It is going to have assault rifle ban. Do you agree on that?
I just passed. Where
that one? Do you agree?
The bill would also...
No, I'm not saying...
No, it says... Oh, wait,
no, I'm not saying in this bill. I'm saying that if they make this bill their base, that these things are going to come out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So the assault rifle ban?
Yes.
They're going to increase tax on ammo.
They're already doing that.
So they're going to increase tax on gun sales.
Yep.
They're gonna
tax everything.
They're gonna
How
they're gonna make the universal background check even more fucking complicated.
The only way to deter people from buying anything is by increasing the tax on it.
Mm-hmm. And make them jump through more hoops to get one, which is what they're gonna do.
Right.
If they do the registration and the licensing
and that is the loophole that is their loophole to 2A.
Well, and that's why I think that there's no way a lot of this is going to pass, because
it's not. But
you can do the assault rifle ban, but it's never going to be like the assault rifle ban's going to be like you can't manufacture one and you can't sell one, but they're not going to come in your house and take your AR-15s.
They're also making it illegal for ghost guns to be manufactured,
and they want to make it. They want to make it so that gun manufacturers can be sued if one of their guns is used in a mass shooting.
Stop you off, sir?
Yes, please. So
some coffee beer.
So first of all, that is against, and I mean, me and Devin can talk about capitalism later, and we both understand that capitalism is not fucking bulletproof and flawless. But it is a total violation of American capitalism to say that a gun manufacturer manufacturing a gun is responsible for what any of their people use their gun for.
Yep.
That is fucking ridiculous.
If that's the case,
that's going to put every gun company out of business.
Right. Then we need to make McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. We need to hold
Crown Royal, Bud Light.
We need to
everything that can possibly kill somebody.
We need to hold everyone responsible. We need to hold all the fast food chains responsible for making people fat and addicted to this food.
See, I don't think that part of it would pass because of this argument. Because, like, dude,
and then
you can't do that.
And then we need to hold all of the tobacco companies and alcohol companies, liquor companies. Well,
tobacco companies do get sued by people that
all the time
fucking die of
all the time
tobacco and
so why aren't we doing it with alcohol?
I agree.
Alcohol, liquor.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
If we're gonna hold one to a certain standard like that, guns to a standard like that, everything needs to be held to a standard like that.
So on this show,
and guess what? Statistically, alcohol kills more.
On this show, we are going to hold all politicians accountable. Certainly Joe Biden, certainly Donald Trump, even though he's not in the scene right now. We know he is absolutely going to come back and be in politics and be involved. Hell, he might start his own party.
No.
It's talk. There is talk.
They already pointed the flaw out to it, and he retracted that. That's why he's going to probably run for Congress.
But our listeners, we want to hear your take on that. Do you think Donald Trump would start his own party? And
here's why he's not going to start his own party. Just like having a libertarian party, having another party that is leaning right, you're dividing that vote, which is only giving the left more votes.
Absolutely.
So why are you going to create this patriotic party that's going to yet divide more of the right?
Well,
because you've already divided the right between the Libertarian Party and the Republican Party, and then you bring in the Patriotic Party, your rights can be split up 33%.
Yep.
So absolutely, Democrats are going to win every time.
Here's my theory, and I don't think it's going to be every time. I do think it's going to be the first.
Be every time.
I do think it's going to be like 4, 8, 12 years.
And
hear me out on
because knowing that they're going to divide,
and I heard
the
this
votes,
theory.
They're not going to do it.
I heard this theory the other day because someone mentioned it, and they said this is a what if. They said, yes, if this happened and they split up and Donald Trump started his own party, they really believe, and this analyst said that this is a serious possibility, that the Democrats would absolutely win 1, 2, 3 more terms, but that you're looking at like 8 to 12 years down the road, this independent, patriotic party would really start to take grasp, the more that
False.
Bipartisan politics.
False. How long have we had a Libertarian Party, and how many times have they won a presidency?
I agree. I just think that Donald Trump has enough headway right now and enough support to be able to do it.
False.
That's just an opinion.
As much as I will stick with the false, because over the last 4 years, we've seen what Trump did. A lot of Republicans, the reason why they had switched to the Democratic Party was mostly because of the way he had talked.
Yeah.
Very
non-presidential.
Very non-presidential, but if we do, there were some policies that they disagreed with. They're like, no, we shouldn't have done that. That can take another 4 hours of us talking. But
it's gonna happen another day. Our purple oath.
But we all can also agree that Trump had done so much that had helped the country. But again, in the end, because if you're gonna start another party, no matter what, you're still dividing those votes.
Yeah, you're going to definitely take away from your original party.
We have been such a dominant
definitely with how
system.
big his base is.
We have been such a two-party system that adding another party is going to divide those votes even more so on the right. Like I had said, I'm going to continue to say that.
Yeah.
What other left Democratic parties are there?
You have your very left-leaning liberal socialists, and then you have your moderate libertarians. That both are I would consider Pete Buttigieg a libertarian. That's in that moderate, can think like a Republican, can think like a conservative, can see that point of view. I think Ben Sasse is another Republican out of Nebraska that absolutely sees the point of view of the left and the liberals, but knows that you can't have liberal views and you can't have extremist right-wing views. You have to have that moderate, in the middle, yes, it makes sense, and yes, you make sense, but we can't do that. We have to meet in the middle. You know what I mean? Because
how do we meet in the middle?
With great politicians.
How?
People that are making our laws, setting tax rates, setting these laws, they need to actually be on our side.
So we're going to end the podcast with, how do we do that? How do we hold our politicians accountable?
We would love to hear everyone's take on that, because me and Devin, we're going to probably be asking ourselves that for the next, how old are we? 30? 70 years. We're going to be asking ourselves that for the next 70 years.
Yeah. How do we do it? How do we hold them accountable?
And I think it starts with term limits, so I'm just going to leave you that juicy little bit. And by the way, if it's term limits is your ultimatum and your end conclusion as well, how do we do that other than getting 100% of the population on board?
Right.
So, guys, it's just something to think about, and this is episode 1 of Our Purple Oath with Blake and Devin. Guys, tell us what you think. We're fucking out of here. Have a good night.